system. So with that, I'll ask Mr. Eanes to come up and talk to you all.
Thank you for putting this on the agenda, Kevin.
Good to see you.
Mayor and council members, I appreciate your hearing us today. I've got 10 minutes, and so I'll go through this, and after I finish, I will give you my notes. Some of it will be slightly repetitious of what Kevin has covered, but my three lawyer friends who are our committee members, Gary Keltner and Bill Jury and Jim Ullman, put this together, so I'm going to read it, and I may make a few ad-libs that they didn't write, okay? The background, as you have heard, is during the 1980s, the city of Phoenix was overcharging Paradise Valley residents for water, and they ignored the town of Paradise Valley's efforts to have them stop doing it. One day, the city of Phoenix just doubled the water fees. It made the council really, really mad. The council mayor at the time was the late Joan Lincoln. So she and the town council lobbied the state legislature for relief, and they got it. The result was ARS 9-511. It was enacted. It limited what cities could charge for water provided to other cities. And now for the past 10 years or so, at least that long, Phoenix has again been overcharging Paradise Valley residents. But this time it's for sewage discharged, not water. People only discharge a limited amount of sewage, and there's studies which show what that amount is per person per household. One of the best studies, and I'll give this out to you later, was done by Salt River Project. They know a thing or two about that, but they did a study which they revealed on an SRP tree. They had this on the canal at Christmas time, and they called it the SRP tree. But basically it says the average person in the valley uses 133 gallons of water a day. Of those, 9 gallons are for drinking and cooking, 15 gallons are for showers and baths, 20 gallons are for toilets, 17 gallons are for clothes, dishwashing, faucets, and cleaning. All right, that adds up to 58 gallons per person per day. That really doesn't change from month to month. And by the way, the people in Paradise Valley living on an acre lot or a 5-acre lot, they use about the same. What changes is the other water that is consumed by the customer. The average valley person uses 75 gallons a day for landscaping, pools, and leaks, and of course that doesn't go into the Phoenix sewer system. So this is the rub. They're charging us, City of Phoenix is, based on the amount of water used. Well, of course we use more water out here. We have acre lots. And so to charge Paradise Valley residents who have acre or more lots primarily the same way with the same magic formula they have for Phoenix simply is not fair. There's no reason to believe that Paradise Valley residents discharge more sewage per person than they would if they were instead Phoenix residents. Yet PV residents are being charged on average 4 to 5 times more for the sewage that they supposedly discharge than are Phoenix residents, and some are being charged more than that. While denying the sewer charge appeals of 2 Paradise Valley residents last year, the city's hearing officer concluded that the residents were correct in their assertions that the customer's contention is accurate that PCC section 29-8 states that sewer charges will be based on sewage discharged. However, he ruled on both appeals that the customer has the burden to show the disputed billings are incorrect. Imagine that. The burden is on us to show them that their numbers are wrong, as opposed to the burden being on them to show us that their numbers are right. At any rate, the 2 residents had not done so. It didn't matter that both residents were being charged multiples of what Phoenix residents were being charged. 2 years ago, 2 Paradise Valley customers, who were also lawyers, met with the city attorney and the Water Service Department personnel in the hope of remedying the problem. Instead, the problem has gotten worse. Thus, once again, Paradise Valley residents need your help, the town's help, to help stop the city from overcharging us. Here's the problem. The fundamental problem is, despite the fact that the city is supposed to be charging for sewage discharged, it is instead arbitrarily determining that the charge is based on water usage. And it's determining that charge for the full year based on the average water usage for just 3 months. The water billed in January, February, and March of each year. And as you talked about, that may not be typical for hot weather climates like this. We use frequently for winter grass more water in those months. So that departs from the sewage discharged in multiple ways. Water usage includes outdoor water usage, which doesn't enter the sewer and does not become sewage discharged. The representative 3 months don't necessarily represent or correlate to the water usage during other months of the entire year. At most, sewage disposed wouldn't typically exceed indoor water usage, regardless of the amount of outdoor water usage, and outdoor water doesn't enter the sewer, so it's irrelevant to sewage discharged. It never got into the Phoenix sewer system. So the sewage people discharge won't typically vary much from month to month, like the SRP study. These people who use a certain amount of water for drinking and cooking and showering and baths and toilets and clothes and so forth, that doesn't change from month to month. So again, we say 2.71 people living in Phoenix use about the same amount of sewage as 2.71 people living in Paradise Valley, regardless of the size of their lot. So instead of charging for or trying to accurately estimate actual sewage discharged, Phoenix is simply charging Paradise Valley residents based in large part on the water used on their acre or larger Paradise Valley lots. And as I was putting this together, and I've never presented anything to a town council, so pardon me, I thought, gosh, I wonder what it was like being in Boston during the American Revolution. Remember, they came up with that line, they just thought they were being unfairly taxed, and they said, no taxation without representation. Well, that's what we've got here, because the truth of the matter is, this is a progressive tax. They're gouging us on sewer fees because the city of Phoenix really can't tax us. Now, we do have these big fancy acre lots and swimming pools and winter grass and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? We pay taxes on it. Maricopa County. That's the system. Sorry, folks. That's the way it is. So there's a lot of wink-winking going on down there in the city of Phoenix. Believe me, I've heard it from insiders. They consider it a progressive tax. But that's against the law. They have to charge us for sewage discharged. So although Phoenix has acknowledged that it has no power or intention to do so, it's repeatedly sent out and continues to send out threatening letters to PV residents served by EPCOR Water in which, to coerce payment, Phoenix threatens water service cutoff if the sewer is not paid. Basically, they're saying, pay your sewer bill to us or we'll cut off your water. Well, they can't cut off our EPCOR water. So that's really going over the line. So the elements of a solution. If water usage must be used as a measure of sewer discharge, it must recognize that not only indoor water typically contributes to sewage discharge, only indoor water typically contributes to sewage discharge, and it needs to exclude outdoor water usage except to the extent that it is shown to somehow contribute to sewage discharge. And it needs to recognize that the calculations which produce sewage discharge, which are out of sync with and exceed recognized per capita sewage discharge studies, are excessive and should be carefully scrutinized, and not be patently excessive on a per capita basis. The sewer bills should be adjusted accordingly. So what we need is we continue to need your assistance at the executive level with communications with the City of Phoenix to stop the overcharging. And we need to ask you to assist our efforts to obtain corrective legislation such as ARS 9-511, which was obtained by the town back in the 80s through the efforts of the late Mayor Lincoln to stop water overcharging. Now, let's stop sewer overcharging. Pretty simple. Tell them they can't do it. Support a request pursuant to ARS 41-194.01 for one or more members of the legislature, and some of our good folks may be in the legislature soon, to ask the Attorney General to investigate whether an ordinance or other official action adopted or taken by a governing body of Phoenix violates state law or the Arizona Constitution, among other constraints of Arizona law, ARS 9-511.01, which states, rates and charges demanded or received by municipalities for water and wastewater service shall be just and reasonable. Every unjust or unreasonable rate or charge demanded or received by a municipality is prohibited and unlawful. So in closing, why do the people at the Phoenix Water Services charge their Paradise Valley customers, sewer customers, an average of 4 to 5 times what they charge their Phoenix sewer customers? Because they can. And no one has been able to stop them yet. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Gary. That was a great presentation.